Righto, welcome to blog for Thursday the 23rd of August. This is day 54 of 65 of the compound effect, making forward progress every day applying my edge and method. The goal is to really stick to the method, apply the edge, be doing the same thing day in, day out, really creating fantastic risk models, and that's the way to move ahead and achieve my goals. As far as the strategy, and it's days like today, and you'll see in a sec today, I've had three stop outs. So a day like that rarely comes along. I haven't had one for a while, but they certainly come along when you're out there looking for 8, 10 trades a week. There's going to be an occasional day we have a maximum stop out. Now, three stop outs is my most for the day. Once I've had three, I certainly shut up shop. But the way I see it is, I did used to limit myself to two, but I just want to give myself a little bit more room, knowing that three stop outs, usually because some of them are a little bit smaller as well, it might add up to anywhere between say 10, 15 ticks or so. Quite often it's sort of around the 12, 13 tick stage. I know, three stop outs, an entire day where I just couldn't get anything to go my way. Three stop outs like that, and all of a sudden in one trade I can make all that back. So as long as I can't do any permanent damage in a day, I'm happy to go ahead and take on the risk where I allow myself up to three stop outs, which is exactly what's happened. And understanding, so you got to look back, whenever you have a day like this, for myself, I'll look back over the day and go, did I do everything right? Did I execute it properly? And you can get absolute belief and confidence out of days like this. Like sometimes it's your down days or your worst days that you get your most confidence going. I did everything right. I executed right. A little bit of luck went against me in a few areas, but I look back over the system, go there was three trades there that I should have taken, no problems, and from doing the work with risk models and really understand the numbers in my favour, and basically each of these trades I had a directional break. Let me think. Reversal and momentum. So that each from three of the different strategies there. So I've got three strategies covered: breakout, mean reversion, and mid-range momentum. So I mean, technically, when I break it down, it's one stop out from each strategy. So that's more than likely to happen. Just so happened that each of the three strategies with the loss coincided one after the other. So I'll always break it down, and look at what happened, and make sure I'm doing the right thing. And certainly belief and confidence. Just try to learn from it and gain something from it, which certainly feel I have. But I'll just add this little tab up here. I forgot to add it. But for the week, that's really, I was pretty even. So I had a winner, a couple of break even, and a loss. Now, obviously, this has added to situations, really started to increase the loss side. So one winner, two break even, and full loss. But the way I'm structured at the moment and this is where exit strategies come a lot into it, and just creating a strategy that you can extract the most profit as possible. So I'm in a situation here where four losses to one win. I've had a situation where just one win so far for the week, and that was yesterday, and it was off a news count, so one that I shouldn't even take. So I'm having a week that's not. I wouldn't call it abnormal. Just to have one winner for the week is quite unusual. But even in a situation, pulling out contracts at different levels and things like that, I only find myself a little bit behind, even though there's four times the winners or four losses to one winner. And again, that's another thing to look at. Gives me confidence, going, well, nothing's really gone right, or I'm having a week where the winners just haven't come yet. I find myself still within striking range of having a profitable week. That might not necessarily happen. I certainly don't want to get too aggressive on Friday, and losing weeks are fine, but it certainly hasn't ruined the month by any means. So as far as the day goes, you see you've got three key levels here: 1408, 1403. This is a key level that's been playing in the market for quite a while, and we're now dealing around it again, and then 1400 as well. As far as trades, there was four areas looked at, so obviously the 1, 2, 3 losses, and then there was a breakout trade here, which the order flashed on me, no fill, and then ended up going. So with the directional breakout. It's a funny one. It was only yesterday I was talking about changing the way I get into this, yet the very next day, the original entry I had to the tick, it would have got me in, and then from there just charged on the downside and worked beautifully. This is where I normally want to enter up here, look for the market to push outside of the breakout box. So I've only got a bottom side of the breakout box drawn today because the market just came flying down, so there's no top side to this today, so I was only looking at the downside as far as directional breaks. So we pushed through, all our markets went together, they've come back, and when you look at the other markets at this point here, especially the Dow Jones was only having a small pullback, so it was really keen to stay on the downside, and the Nasdaq and Russell also, they were pushed out and then didn't retrace as far back to the bottom of the range, so all the signs were that this area was going to hold and work. But my approach was look for the market to create a swing low, which it has here, pop back, then if it comes out this area again, take the entry there. So again, it's going to be a balance. I'm still finding what makes me really confident in this area. You know, I don't believe in mucking around with it too much. I certainly don't want to get rid of the area. It's something that's working really well. And the overall concept, when I look over my weeks of data, it's for not doing phenomenally well. Just as a trader, I haven't been able to pull out the profit that I expect from it. So I'll go back and just make sure I can create the best possible situation for myself in regards to this. And what I've found is having what I call a pivot point here and breaking this pivot point. It's a good concept, except this case here, it's 10 ticks away from the original breakout area. So when the market's very extended, and regardless of that, it's 10 ticks away from that breakout box. It's getting too far. What I think it should be approached is really 4 or 5 ticks away, so there's still that compactness there. And then have a two-tier approach where I want to have a situation where I've created a pivot point that I can get in, sort of worst case scenario, but also give myself a chance to get on up here. What I realized is that even though I was missing a lot of ones here, some will work too. So if I give myself a chance, if that fails, have an entry down a little bit lower that I can get in on. So two things: bring back this particular entry because it's a fantastic entry. The only reason I was looking at otherwise is because a lot of times I was getting left behind and trades were working without me. But give myself an opportunity. So if I do get filled there, fantastic. If not, go to phase 2, and that's basically a pivot strategy, or breaking the pivot. So that's more like a stop order, meaning that the market is just going to fill you because you're sitting. The market's got to go through you, not come back and pick you up in a limit order situation. But in saying that, a pivot that's 10 ticks away from the original box that I've drawn, that's just too far. I'm looking to get out here, profit 10 tick profit, yet then all of a sudden I'm in a situation where I'm entering where I should be exiting. So that's certainly something that I'll change there or rectify there. Something that makes a little bit more sense. Where was it? So here it is. Here's the breakout, comes down. I mean, this one today just set up fantastic. When it pulled back like this, all the other markets were just not coming back anywhere near as fast. So they were just all hanging so much on the downside. So this downside was so likely. So it was very probable. You look at an area like this and say, well, it's a market that's picked direction on the downside and really should be taking some sort of profit from a move like that more times than not. But if you look at the price action here, the market's kind of popped up, just missed, popped down, come back again. So here's a little pivot point here, and that's something that makes a lot more sense as far as creating a pivot. So when it popped back like that, have the order here. If it happens on the fill me and comes again at me, be getting in here, and I'm only 4 ticks away from the entry then, and that just suits me a lot more and giving myself a lot more chances of getting in. But anyway, it's not like I don't suggest in marking around something too much just because I've had a few losers or something like that. It's not that the concept of the area doesn't work. It's just finding a way that suits my personality as far as entry, and also from data collection, realizing that it's just been letting me down as far as what I'm doing here. So I just need to change the way I approach it. I don't want to change the area. I just want to change the way I approach it. So anyway, directional breakout, loss, move on from that area. From there, we've popped back up, and then we start heading down to the lows again. And this is sort of an area that was really quite interesting. On the 1 minute chart, it started to show some formations are really starting to step up. But it was this area here where the sellers launch themselves from. So obviously we've got a 5-minute fade coming up here. That should be a sell. So if I'm seeing this sort of region fail, then I'm interested in the reversal. So this one here, the markets have tried to push lower, so where they should go on from, then they pop back up. So as they're looking to break this, if all the other markets are supporting, looking to buy. So in this particular case, I bought down here. Reason I bought down here is because the Nasdaq was just so strong on the upside. If you look at the Nasdaq, it was just racing away, well and truly broken this area here. But in hindsight, the Russell and the Dow Jones never actually broke this area here. They were hanging a little bit lower, but because of the Nasdaq, I was more than keen to take this on and took it on very early. Then it actually got the break by one tick and thought, it's eventually going to follow the Nasdaq's lead, but it didn't. So technically, when I look at it, not a setup. But what I want to say about that is, I guess you don't want to have a bias to winners or losers. So even though this is a losing trade, I sit here and go, okay, if this had gone on to be a winner, would I be happy that I took it as a winner, or even as taken as a winner, would I still go, that wasn't my time for setup? I know, no doubt in the world that if this market had went at the time I was thinking it was going to go to the upside, because of that Nasdaq, no doubt in the world I would have said, yeah, that was the right entry to take. So for that reason, as far as whether the approach to my systematic way, no doubt it was. So again, look at it and go, I'm more than happy to take the loss there, even though I didn't have all the market support. The fact that Nasdaq was so strong, I was happy to take it there and sort of take that little bit of a risk in that area and believe that could possibly go on. So the reversal there and a loss. Eventually from there, the market's, it's turned around. When I look at the 15-minute charts, let me bring those up for a second. So this is where we are here. So sort of we're certainly getting some momentum. It's coming back and looking at these lows and trying to break low, and you can see the overall momentum on the 15-minute chart is on the downside. I've got a new trend line here. This is certainly not confirmed yet, but it'll be interesting to see if it does come back and sort of hang around and get a rejection off it again. But always keeping an eye on the 15-minute charts, and I was starting to see some downward pressure, and like after seeing an area where it's kind of like a reversal going, okay, this reversal area that looked so good at one stage with the Nasdaq, all of a sudden failing, coming right back and charging back at its lows like this. This market obviously wants to go down. So this particular little area here is where I look for the breakout trade. There's a couple of things going for this. When it comes to third time, so here's the low, looks at it a second time, looks at it a third time. When it comes to third time like that, there's a reason it wants to do that, and it just looked like it was just keen to push down lower. All the other markets were hanging around at its lows as well. So I'll look over the other markets, they're all putting pressure on this pivot point. So the ES was actually the first one to break it, but in saying that, they're all there ready to go. So it had everything going for it. And again, when thinking probabilities, definitely an area that's likely to break. So I'm just looking for my blueprint or my setup of the area. And unfortunately, if this one, it's hit the order, but just hasn't got filled. So what's happened is, here's my price action. So the way I approach the areas, I'm looking, when I look at the area, I look for the immediate price action. So I could see 1402.50, so just a couple of ticks below that key level. But 1402.50 was a price level that the market just kept on reacting to. Then all of a sudden you see the price really push away. I want it to come back, use as resistance. Now normally I'd wait for it to come to this level here, but I have been missing a few of these areas, so I was prepared to come down a couple of ticks, and I actually went down to 1402 and had the order sitting there. So even when I reduced the order a bit, it still managed to hit me to the tick, but not get a fill there. Again, it's about measuring and going, well, what happens if I just keep on letting these areas and waiting to get filled, and I keep on missing them, and they go on for profits like that. So it's definitely an area just to keep a watch on, but unfortunately there, missed the setup. From there, the market's eventually bottomed out. We've got some formation here where it's starting to try and hold and head higher. This is the basis for now momentum trade. So you can see here's a key level, 1400. So that's, it's just far enough from the lows to be looking at a level to hold and go higher. So you can see basically we've got this sideways range, then we've got these strong candle, strong momentum on the upside here, and this is when the moving average swung to the upside, and all of a sudden I go, okay, now this looks like this market's going higher. I'm prepared to use this as a support level and buy off that. But again, in these areas here, if there's I'm looking off a key level, but where is it here? You can see here, here's where the support actually is once we got above it. So rather than buying off the key level, I had the order up here and buying off it here. But this one, and this is just where the day just got bizarre for me. This one I actually decided to go buy at market. I was sitting there waiting on the order down here, but when we actually shot off like this, I was afraid I was going to miss it, and I can't remember exactly where, but somewhere down here when it was about here. I mean, in the end, it's come through and picked me up, but I'm sitting here going, okay, this might go again. Bought at market, and as a result, got a couple of tick worse fill, and I think ended up getting 1401.25. As a result, it's gone 7 ticks exactly, and then come back and stop me out. So what I did is I had a stop out. Where is it? Back here, 1 tick below this area here, so it would have been stopped out back over here. So a 4 tick stop out. But you know, that's just the way it is. It's just don't want to harp on the bad things, but again, rather than waiting like this particular one, where I'd normally wait for the order to get filled, it eventually has come and filled me, and as a result, it would have went, or at least got to break even. You know, would have eliminated the loss. But I thought it was going without me. Saw myself miss a previous trade that went, you know, many points. So bought at market as a result, a couple of tick worse fill. But that's sort of the balancing point as to do you buy at market, maybe get a little bit of a worse fill, but not miss the trade, or in this particular case, you know, would have got filled anyway, but it just meant that I've gone from having potentially break even to a loss. So anyway, that's sort of switching from one strategy to the other is not the best idea. So as far as today goes, that's probably the one area there where I let myself down. I've just kind of changed my strategy midstream and just didn't want to miss it from the fact that I missed a previous trade. So I've let something previous in the market affect my judgment. So that's certainly something I've got to work on and fix there and really decide exactly, you know, these trades where I'm approaching with a limit order, having a strategy one way or the other. Or even if it's a multiple strategy approach, just having that clearly defined in my head. You know, I chopped and changed a little bit here, and as a result, it's cost me. But that's something, you know, I don't care whether it's a winner or a loser. At the end of the day, I'm not too fast that's a loser. It really doesn't affect worry me that I had a 4 tick loss instead of a couple of tick gain. You know, that's not going to affect me in the long term. What I do, what I am concerned about, or what I want to look at, is that I do everything systematically. So I'll take that from today, that's for sure. And then eventually, you know, the areas tried to go high, and I had high expectations for this one. Because I'd had 2 losses, I was just going to get out at 10 ticks. But normally, if I was in front for the week, if it started going, I was expecting to come up to maybe this point here, or even back to the highs up around this point here. But in the end, it's held at that 1403 to the tick, and then pushed lower. So the overall trading area wasn't the B anyway. Anyway, that's a wrap up for what's Thursday. Certainly a lot for myself going on there. Learn, you know, like I said, days like this, you learn a ton, and it's all about, you know, moving forwards and learning and evolving. And that's certainly what happened today. So I'll speak to you guys Friday.